Welcome to Kings Spotlight. We are joined for the final time this season by Kings College head football coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for joining us again this weekend and throughout the season.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, it's the final week of the season, and we end the year with our rivalry game against Wilkes University as the Monarchs travel crosstown for the 21st annual Mayor's Cup game. Before we get to that game, talk about the final week of the season. Each week you prepare knowing that there is going to be a next week. We will get to the seniors later on, but this week there is a sense of finality, knowing that there is no more games to be played. So what is it like emotionally the final week of the season when you know that this group of players will never suit up together again?
I mean, we try to keep it out of the deal because we try to approach the kids that this is just like preparing the same way you prepared, for the first week of the season against Moravian, how you prepared in the middle of the year, for Albright and Misericordia. It's the same preparation has to be applied, if they're going to, take the field and be successful on Saturday with Wilkes. And then we have a thing on Friday, where we, talk about our seniors and let them do their last tackle and kind of, bring it, to closure from there. But again, it's about, and the beauty of it is that the last week having a rivalry with a trophy and 3 blocks apart, you have the kids focus and they understand, the importance of the game. It's the last game and they're still giving you, that the effort and the focus and the preparation is the same as it was in week 1 and week 5.
Well, obviously this is a big rivalry game with Kings and Wilkes only being separated by 3 street blocks. But you're a Lehigh Valley guy and you've been around the Lafayette-Lehigh game as well as the Muhlenberg-Moravian rivalry. Talk about your experiences with rivalries and how the Kings-Wilkes rivalry is unique unto its own.
Yeah, I mean, being from the Valley, I live in Easton, so you can't like Lehigh. That's how I look at it. I'm a lifelong resident of Easton and been affiliated with Lafayette football and then their coaches and their kids, for, most of my whole life as a kid growing up. The head coach of Lafayette lived down the street from me. So you kind of have that 2 cities don't like each other kind of 365, days a year deal. And then the Muhlenberg-Moravian game, kind of a similar, deal. There was, not a lot of love for each other, in that one. And then, when we were at Muhlenberg and, got to know, Coach Manello and then, Coach Sheptock, they were good friends. And they, they kind of talked about the rivalry. Here's more of a family rivalry. The schools do a lot together, every other day of the year, and then for 3 hours on a Saturday, you're fighting like crazy for bragging rights and and a chance to claim as the best team in the city and those types of things. So it's a kind of a different type of a rivalry, more of a family type of a rivalry, and we're to get along the rest of the time of the year, do joint projects together. But for 3 hours on a Saturday, you're battling like crazy for that Mayor's Cup.
The Kings offense has been clicking most of the year, averaging nearly 30 points per game and over 400 yards of total offense each game, and is also leading the MAC in passing with 286 yards per game. Talk about how junior Zach Whitehead has fit into this offense and how he has been able to break several school records this year.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you have to have ability, and then Zach has the ability, and then you have to have the 1-2, and his 1-2 is at all-time high. It's what you need from elite quarterbacks that that I've been a part of in my coaching career. He has that 1-2, the desire to do more in the film room and the meetings, because that's what the position demands from a quarterback from there. So he's put the time and the effort in, and he worked hard to improve on the things as a sophomore that that were held him back some, and then that growth and that just desire to look at what he did well and build upon that, and then things that didn't go well, how can I fix it to keep the offense going? And you can see the the evolution of it from there. And that, again, he's done a great job all year of distributing the football to all our receivers and find ways to get plays. And then as the years going on, he's become more of a weapon running the football. So again, he's just totally immersed, knows our offense, and knows he can make plays with his feet as well with his arm, and that's good to see every week. He's just getting better and better.
Well, the Kings receiving core has certainly blended well with Zach. There's a great chemistry going on. And talk about how the receivers have really come about, even with Matt DeMarco suffering an injury early in the season. There's a lot of depth, and the guys have really shown the ability to step up.
Yeah, I mean, that's, fortunately, when you have depth, when you lose a guy, who's an all-league caliber, talent that Matt was, he goes down, it's not good. You feel bad, but then you still got to line up and play the next week. A guy's got to step up and absorb that role. And our receivers have the talent and ability, and they've all stepped up. I mean, Talia Maroney has worked tremendously hard. As he felt he had a disappointing sophomore season, and he's had a great junior year. And Palmer's just continued to do everything that he's done to build upon his all-league year from there. And then Marcus Miller has been more consistent, and he rose up and stepped up. And Corey Flynn, who's got a tough deal as an RA and misses a lot of camp, but he's worked really hard to know our offense, and he's just gotten better and better and more reliable, and he's stepped up with huge plays. And Austin White, the role of be able to catch balls in space and do a good job blocking, and he's got 20-some catches, so he's willing to to step up from there. So when you get a good player goes down, the guys around him got to step up and pick up the slack, and our receivers have done a great job of doing that to keep our offense at a high level.
The Kings' running game has been hot and cold this season. In a game like this where a lot of people are expecting a great deal of passing from both sides, where do you see the running game fitting in?
Again, we got to try to get it, to be hot and then not cold, to be able to keep balance, from there. And again, if you can run the ball, you can kind of do what you want to do, offensively. If you're really struggling with it, then, you want to try to avoid having to be a one-dimensional, deal. So we have to have, a running game on Saturday where we can be effective and efficient, and making things happen, with the ground game.
The past 2 weeks, Wilkes has started freshman quarterback Jose Tabora, who stepped in for injured senior starter Ryan Daly, and he's done remarkably well. Talk about him, what he brings to the table, what problems he presents, and how different he is from Daly to prepare for, and that there also is that possibility Daly could return, so you have to be ready for two quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, with the number 4, he's just a really, really athletic kid, and he plays with a high sense of confidence. He's not playing, as a freshman who gets thrown in the mix because of an injury. He kind of owns the moment, and he's not afraid. And he's willing to make plays with his feet, with his arm. He did a lot of damage with his feet against Lyco. Ran around and bought time, and it did damage with his arm. Against Stevenson. So we have to kind of keep him, in the pocket, from there. Daly, they've slung it all around the yard, with him, and he's done damage with his feet. I mean, he burned us for a 30-yard, touchdown. But he kind of, when he moves around, he's looking to move around for the most part to throw the ball to people. So I think the game plan of trying to keep 4 in the pocket. If Daly's the guy, the same game plan is there because we keep Daly, in the pocket. Then we have to still defend the pass from that deal. So we're kind of not sure who we're going to see. Probably going to see definitely 4, probably maybe both if Daly's healthy as a senior, in his last game and things from there. So we're just trying to make sure we can contain the quarterback and control the quarterback, whichever one it is, to give us a chance defensively.
The Wilkes receivers have also done a good job this year and have 7 players who have at least 16 or more catches, with Bill Deemer and Garrett Armstrong topping the squad with 45 and 30 catches respectively. So talk about them.
They're kind of like us. They're deep, talented, and when you're going to run a spread offense and they throw the ball a lot, you have to have multiple receivers. You can't just be one guy getting the ball. The thing I like the most about their receiving core, from all our opponents, I think their receiving core attacks the football as well or the best of anybody, that we've played. I mean, again, 4's running around and he's willing to go make a play because he has confidence that I throw it up there, my receiver's going to go get it. And then they did that against Stevenson. They went up there numerous times and, outfought the ball, wanted the ball more than Stevenson did to make huge plays. So they attack the football extremely well. And when they see him scrambling, they run the scramble drill extremely well. So our DBs, if they got to be in their area or be with their man, the whole entire length of the play.
The Wilkes running game has also shown depth with multiple runners seeing action this season. Jacob Brooks tops the squad with 434 yards, but Tabora has really emerged as a dangerous runner quarterback, and he has over 300 yards.
Yeah, they have a kind of a maybe tailback by committee. They played a lot of different guys and try to get the run game, going just like we're doing the same thing. And then again, but when you can bring a quarterback in who can, tuck it and go and do certain things, that just, adds a different element from there. So yeah, he's definitely boosted their run game because again, they ran the ball really well against Lyco, and you watch the film, and a lot of it is him, doing a really good job either on design quarterback runs or just things breaking down and him tucking it and getting positive yards from there. So for us to control the run game, we have to be physical up front to be able to handle the running game with the running backs, and then again be gap sound and do our job at 111 to be able to know where 4 is and not let him get loose and be able to create plays or extend plays, which in the 2 starts he has, he's done a tremendous job of doing that.
And finally, Coach, it's the final game for our seniors. So talk about their legacy when they leave the program.
They're going to leave here, with one of the strongest legacies of a group of seniors that we've had here. When they signed up to come to Kings and felt it was the best fit for them academically, as well as athletically, we were selling them. We had won 4 games, but we had done a lot of the. We were in more of the developmental stage of the rebuilding, process, and their class. The other classes that they were coming into were fully committed to continue to develop the program. They helped the older guys and then help with recruiting. And then, during their 4 years, we would rise up and become of a relevant, program from there. And they've done that. They've got us in a state of relevancy where every Saturday, we have a chance. And, they have an opportunity on Saturday to beat their rival three times, where the thing's only been done, one other time as a senior class to leave with 3 Mayor's Cup championships. They've beaten the other rival all 4 years. We've beaten FDU 4 years. 3-1 against Lyco, first ever win at Lyco. 2-2 against Lebanon Valley, who's won a conference championship. We've beaten Del Val's at a conference championship. Played very competitive, the most competitive game with Widener last week. Been to double overtime with Albright. So they've done great things. They've taken our program to heights we haven't been in a while, where every Saturday we take the field and everyone knows we have a chance. We're in that ball game. It's just a matter of making plays from there. So they've made it much easier for kids that want to come to Kings, easier in recruiting, and then they're leaving. Their time to leave, but they got us in a solid place, and then they're going to pass the baton to the class of 18 to continue to push the program forward, to where we can compete more and higher for a conference championship.
Well, Coach, that is all the time we have for today. Good luck to you and the Monarchs on Saturday when Kings travels to Wilkes to play in the 21st annual Mayor's Cup game at Schmidt Stadium in Edwardsville.
All right, thank you.